appreciate you taking the time to do this with me. It means a lot to me, honestly.
Oh, cool. Where are you, Max?
I am in Florida, just south of Orlando.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's that?
Nice and warm.
Oh yeah, you never really know. It's either going to be really hot or really hot and humid. It really just depends on the time of day.
Diff- Different kinds of heat.
Yeah, exactly. So, welcome to Sonic Dorms, by the way. Ian Crichton here tonight is my special guest. And of course, Ian Crichton being, to me, one of the most incredible guitar players of all time. Seriously, an absolute legend in my book. I've been listening to Saga since I was a wee lad, really. And your guitar playing, your tone made a difference in my life. I remember the first time I heard Silent Night in 1980, or the record that was released in 1980. I mean, your third record with Saga, of course, and just being completely blown away by your solo on Don't Be Late. Just to me, that set the stage for everything for me. So major impact, and I do appreciate you doing this with me here today.
Yeah, Max, my pleasure. It's great.
Awesome. So you got a new album out with, of course, 6x6. It's out
Yes.
April 26th via InsideOut Records. And that's you, Robert Berry, and Nigel Glockler, of course, of Saxon on the drums. Was a huge fan of the first record. Came out a couple years ago, and I'm so glad you guys are back with this one.
Cool. It's a 3 album deal, so we got another one to go.
Fantastic news to my ears. So, for starters, for those that aren't too familiar with you as a guitar player, and that's pretty much my goal. One of my goals in life through having this platform is to make people that maybe aren't too familiar with your work uh, recognize your work and your talents as a guitarist and as a composer. Where does it all begin for you as a guitar player? What inspired you initially?
Well, I mean, you're going right back to the beginning, right?
Oh yeah.
My brother Jim, who's in Saga, Jim Crichton. I was 12 or 13, and he was 16, playing bass and getting in bands, and that affected me. I really liked the music, so I started playing bass, and I was getting pretty good. Not really, but I mean back then, as a kid, and he saw me kind of getting a little good, and then one Christmas he said, "Listen, Ian, if you buy this semi-acoustic guitar, I'm thinking of playing guitar, and I'll trade you my precision bass." I went, "Yeah, that's a great idea." So I got the guitar, and he went, "Nah, I changed my mind." That's how it started. And and the guitarist at the time, Eric Clapton, of course, he was the first. Jimi Hendrix, Jeff Beck, you know, uh, Jimmy Page, all these guys. And I started learning guitars really off them because I had no lessons, and it was all vinyl. So I stick my thumb against the record, and it would slow it down, which would make the tone go down too, right? But it was just a way of kind of hearing the licks. Now the licks weren't that fast, but when you're 13, they're really fast. And I just try to get them, and it took about 2 years, 3 years to get around the whole guitar, and then I got into other things like Gentle Giant, Mahavishnu Orchestra, John McLaughlin, and then I started really getting in. And I started. I noticed that all these guitar players did not sound alike, and I thought, wow, that really struck me as a like 15, 16 years old, and I thought that's what I got to do. I got to go my own way. So that's where it really started.
Great list of guitar players. And what's great about you, and you pretty much touched upon this just now, is the idea of creating your own identifiable tone. And I think that's something that a lot of these great guitar players, such as some of the ones that you mentioned just now, had and have,
Yeah.
is tone, an identifiable tone, their own voice.
Yeah.
That's what you have. You have that. Because every time I hear your guitar playing, whether it's within the context of Saga or even in your current project with 6x6, it's immediate to me that you hear an Ian Crichton riff or an Ian Crichton melody line. And it's very
Oh, yeah.
evident that's all you. And
Cool.
it's
Yeah.
the kind of thing that to me really makes me happy to hear because there's not a lot of guitar players out there these days that have such weight and such character. And to me, the way you're able to combine, I guess, a more ferocious type of playing with more, I guess, nuance. You're very good with that crafting nuance, and it's about feel as well. It's not just about, okay, we get it. You can shred. You really can shred, but also making sure that the notes count and that they mean something.
That means a lot to me. Thanks. Yeah, there's players that play a million miles an hour, Ingve Malmsteen, all these guys. But for me, I've always been, like, I have to admit, like a Jeff Beck fan. I mean, melody, something that touches you rather than showing off. You know, you know. So I usually play solos. I like to build them, get a little fast and come down and stuff and end the right way and all this stuff.
Is that really your technique? So when you're coming up with a solo, for instance, is that the way that you approach it? Is like almost like you're crafting a song within the song? There's a storyline here. You have to have a beginning and a middle and an end.
Sort of. It all depends what the music is. The music kind of calls me to play a certain way, either soft, medium, hard, either come in hard or come in soft. It depends on where I'm coming from back end before you start the solo. And when I do solos, I'll do like two or three or four, and I'll go, okay, yeah, this is working, and I just, I do paint my picture. I've blown a few solos right off the top, but I usually do about three or four and see what's working and all that.
Was there ever an instance where you felt you delivered the best solo of your career and then suddenly you were told either by a producer or just anybody who was in the studio with you that you had to try it again, that you could do something better, maybe even?
Yeah, that's happened. you know, it comes down to personal taste when you're being produced and stuff like that. But I mean, a lot of my career at the beginning, when we did the first well, I wouldn't talk about Saga. I mean, really, but I mean, when we did the first record, I started when I was 20 years old, and I didn't really know my way around the studio. The other guys did. So the album was done professionally, just not my professionally. And I kind of grew from that.
Which is interesting because to me, you hear that first record, and to me, one of the things that really stands out outside of that, it's a very, to this day, to me, that first Saga record released back in '78 still holds up as something that doesn't really sound like anything else. You can tell once you start bringing up certain influences like Gentle Giant, early Genesis, you can hear some of that, but it's very much its own. You've crafted your own sound on that record that's very unique. Nothing
Yeah.
quite like it.
I just heard today we have just solidified 3 shows with 6x6 in Europe, and we haven't played yet. So that'll be in September. And I'm really excited. We're going to add a few more shows to it, I'm told, and a few shows in England. So a couple in Netherlands, a few in Germany, and a few in the UK, I believe.
I looked up, I remember seeing the chart numbers for the first record and also the critical response to
Yeah.
6x6's debut LP a couple years ago, and being completely amazed in that. I'm glad that people responded the way they did to that first record. I felt like the response was really, really great, and I think
Uh,
that it's heartwarming to see quality music of that sort of standard be, you get that reciprocation where people, you could tell people really like what they're hearing, and people are actually latching on to something, especially with a new project.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, music today, it's, Beyonce and, the whole gambit of that stuff. So, I mean, things do change over the decades and all that. But, that's not me. So just like doing the best I can all the time and furthering it. And, you know, music is endless. You can be writing stuff forever.
What brought you, I'm sure you've answered this before, but for those who are just becoming familiar with 6 by 6, how far back does this project stem, as far as, like, before it recording even started? For the first record, I mean.
It started about August 2020. I got a call from Nick Shilton, who was managing Robert Barry, English manager, and he had managed Robert for a little while. And Robert was in his band 3.2 with Keith Emerson, Carl Palmer. Keith left, right? He's not with us anymore. The whole thing stopped. And he was being asked what he wants to do now. And he wanted to do something with the guitar player instead of keyboards. And my name came up and they contacted me on Facebook. And it started from there. And Robert and I started talking. I sent him 3 or 4 ideas. I got a whole pile of stuff I've written over the years. Robert's an amazing arranger. I'm pretty good still. I'm getting better, but I don't sing, right? So if I'm going to do something instrumental, okay, fine. But in a song contents with lyrics, uh, fall a bit short of that. And Robert's just brilliant at that. So he took all my parts, added a couple little things, put a full lyric on it, and sent it back to me. I just met him, and it was like that was the song "Yearning to Fly," the first song on the. And I gave him these parts, and he sent that back, almost like the way you're hearing it on the record. I was blown away. I went, "Wow, this is going to work," you know.
It's incredible to hear. That was the first. Pretty sure that was the first single released off that
Yeah,
debut LP, and I
yeah.
remember being blown away by the assault to the ears that it was in the best of ways. I mean, the way that solo comes off is,
Uh,
yeah, you know it.
yeah, I like that one. Yeah, I tried a few different things in there. Every record I'll be trying something different. On this newer 6 by 6, I do some different things.
I get a sense that it's more of an expansive record as far as taking what you brought to the table on the first record and expanding on that, taking it a step further and trying some new things, but without changing too much.
Exactly. I mean, we did it in the same process. I've made trips down to Campbell, California, which is around San Jose, south of San Francisco. That's where Robert has his studio. He has a full studio there. So we recorded some guitars, all the drums and all that. And that's kind of important because I don't mind doing a few things, on the internet. But, the bulk of it is nice to be in a studio. You just get this sound that, you know, is better quality, ambient sort of thing, especially with the drums, you know. And we wrote just naturally, but we did develop. And at this point, I'm looking forward to the third album. It's a 3 album deal, so.
And it sounds to me like you guys work pretty fast because I mean, normally, especially more legacy acts take a longer period of time these days to deliver a new record. Normally, you get 5-year waits between albums, if that. You guys took just 2 years and new albums. So again,
Yeah,
that's kind of unheard of with bands that have been around for a while or artists who have been around for a while.
yeah. Well, the third one will be out next year too, I'm sure. I mean, I like working, I like playing. After COVID, I want to work forever. you know, just keep playing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean that's to me also a testament to your work. I mean, throughout your entire career, and one of the things I like to bring across to people when I introduce them to your work and within the music of either your work with Saga, let's just say, of course, is the perseverance factor. The fact that no matter what, you guys have not stopped working since you started, really, and even for the period that there was a record that was made without Michael Sadler, The Human Condition in '09. That record, even again, persistence, it just continued going on and delivering quality music too, by the way. Music that to me still sounds great. There's a great catalog of material there. And no matter what, I know you have more success in Europe, which is why I haven't ever gone to see you play live, as I'm in Florida. But regardless, you've pretty much honored your fan base. And I think that's something that, to me, a lot of your fans are loyal for that because you haven't stopped, because you've been consistent the entire time, 30 plus years.
45. No, it is what it is. I mean, back in the 80s, we were all over MTV for the whole decade. And we were with CBS Records, New York, and we opened up for everyone. We played everywhere in America. Um, in Florida, yeah, we played Orlando, Miami, Jacksonville, Gainesville. Remember that? St. Petersburg.
Yeah.
Remember cities, Tallahassee. Is that Florida? Yeah, yeah.
It's
Played
nearby.
there.
Yeah.
Everywhere we play. The only place we never played in America was the northwest corner, Dakotas, and we never played those. But everywhere else, we were playing just round and round, and we were opening up for everyone. Jethro Tull, Pat Benatar, Billy Squire, all these bands.
Why? I know I asked this. I had Michael Sadler on and Jim Gilmore as well, and I'll ask you the same question. Why continue? Why did you not stop? Was it just a thrill to continue doing it for the sake of the music, whether or not the commercial success was there? Was just you guys are true bona fide artists, and you just this was in your blood. Is it one of those kind of stories?
That's a hard question to answer because I just want to play. Like America was great for us in the 80s. And then, downloading started happening and everything kind of fell to pieces and the music changed and grunge came in and, it's like, you know, you're not so popular anymore. And, kid generations, grow up. So, for Saga, it kind of left in America. We still do the odd show. Might be playing Chicago soon, stuff like this. But Canada and Europe and a little South America has always stayed for us. So the business is there. It's so it's good to go. If there was no business, yeah, it'd be over. You'd have to be right, but it's still going. We're still filling halls, and you know, I need 6x6 to go out there and do stuff.
I'm looking forward to that. If there's any way that I mean, once that tour itinerary comes out, I would love to, you know, hopefully if there's any dates in the States at any point, I would love to catch you
Yeah.
guys because
Well, we're
yeah.
we're working on it because Nigel, although he's English and plays in Saxon, married an American and lives in Dallas, and Robert's in California. So kind of got two Americans. I'm the only one that needs a visa, but
And where are you if you don't mind me? I know you asked me at the start where I was located. Where exactly are you located these days, if you don't mind me asking?
was just west of Toronto.
Okay. And so is that so it shouldn't be too difficult to have you play some shows in the States then, right? In that
No,
case.
it's not difficult. No,
Okay.
you know. But I mean, after it's a new band, right? So it's not a proven draw audience, and the promoters, yeah, it's all about money and stuff, right? So I think we got to roll the dice a bit with 6x6. I think we got to bite the bullet a bit. We got to go out there and be really good and build it, almost like the old days. We have some videos. We're doing that, but it's really going to take getting out there and being really good and people liking us to go, hey, word of mouth and come back and build it up and that sort of thing.
You guys
So
got it. You guys really do. I think the music stands for itself, and I think that it will translate to people that
yeah,
are hungry for this kind of music because there's not a lot of it out there these days. Progressive, but with that melodic slant to it in this kind of way.
I love melody. I really do. Just a whole pile of notes doesn't make sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about knowing what to play, and again, it's really it touches something in the soul. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's a feeling kind of thing, and I think that some of the best guitar players out there do just that. they strike a chord, no pun intended, with something
Yeah.
within you that makes you respond. It's
Yeah.
something else, really.
Yeah. Beck was great at that.
Yeah, absolutely. And now with the second record coming out, I haven't had a chance to hear the whole thing, of course, but I've got a pre-order done for the second record,
Yeah.
which is called Beyond Shadowland.
Yep.
Is there a particular song on the record that you think everybody should check out? One that you personally feel this is the song?
Well, I'm really in love with the first song called Wren, like the bird, Wren. And I wrote most of that. Um, it's the rhythm I worked on. I was working on something that, even though you've never heard the song, you're going to start grooving right off the bat. So there's three rhythms happening at the same time, and they create this, you got to start moving. I really like that. That'd be great live like that. I like Spectre, his song Spectre. Um, uh, yeah, I'm pretty. Also, the mission, one step. I've kind of uh, brought in this Spanish nylon guitar with my electric, and live I'll have it on an M brace on the mic stand, floating, right? So I can walk over, just hit the button and do my parts, hit it, and then back to the electric, right? And I'm digging that style. We don't do that on every song, but there's a
So
couple.
again, expansive against trying new things or trying
Yeah.
to, you mentioned rhythm. And to me, that's something that I've always latched onto with your playing. And some of my favorite guitar players, whether it's Eddie Van Halen or Sir Dr. Brian May of Queen,
Oh yeah.
they all are not only are they incredibly brilliant as lead guitar players, but as rhythm guitar players,
Yeah.
outstanding. And you bring a lot of that to the table. Is your sense of rhythm is
Cool.
fantastic.
Awesome. I'm pretty happy with the record, definitely.
Awesome. I'm really excited to hear it, Ian. And if you don't mind me asking this question, just for all the Saga fanatics out there, such as myself, Michael said that there's a final or one last really strong Saga album left in you guys, something that will really almost harken back to like Worlds Apart as far as like that kind of oomph to it. Is a Saga album on the cards, a new Saga record?
Not at the moment, but I've been asked for it for a long time by a rec company. Um, as you might know, Jim has left the band in 2017. My brother,
Mm-hmm.
he was a big influence to our sound in Saga. And to tell you the truth, I've been a little afraid of putting out something that is not, it doesn't, it's not that we can't do it, but it's going to take a bit of thought, you know. So there's not one at the moment, but there probably will be the last one at some point.
Perfect. Well, yeah, I mean, you guys got a great legacy there, and I'm sure whatever ends up happening will be very good. And because you guys are the best. Seriously, I think that you guys are one of the best bands that have come out in music, really. I think that if you put yourselves up there with all the greats, name me the greats. I have a radio show on Station Head, which is this app where basically it allows anybody with an Apple Music or a Spotify subscription to host a radio show. I've had this Sonic Dorms thing going on as a podcast for about 4 years. I said if I ever had the opportunity to host a radio show, I will be using this as a platform to showcase the music of Saga, because of all that it's meant to me since just my earliest days of getting into music. And I've been keeping that promise ever since. I just showcased some 6x6 last night to all my listeners, and the response was really good as well. So it's
Right.
nice for people out there who have a voice and are passionate for music, no matter what age they're at, to use
Yeah.
any of those platforms to showcase, because music isn't what radio isn't what it used to be. the business isn't what it used to be. We used to have these personalities out there that
Yeah, yeah.
would push and have an influence on the charts. And nowadays, that's all gone. It's all automated. So I think it's very important that if you have these tools and you have a voice for music and for your passion for it, to talk about it, express it, find
Yeah.
ways of bringing it out there in any which way that it feels to you. So I'm
Well,
keeping my promise, Ian.
thanks, Max. These podcasts and stuff that you're doing and stuff, other people don't have control of it. I mean, as far as I know, Clear Channel brought up like 500 radio stations, and one guy does the programming. So one guy's opinion. So we're kind of locked into that. It was better, like you said, where there was all these characters and people, had their bands and worked better for everybody.
Yeah, it feels some days, I'm not gonna lie, like you're like the last of your of an older breed and you're hanging on by a thread, but um I am trying to just do something because I think there's what do you got to lose? I mean, what else is there? And I think ultimately I've seen that people do respond to this. People do still want to hear people with their own personal taste curating music, talking about music that they're passionate about. Whether they have 10 listeners or 1 million, but at the end of the day, it's about trying, and I'm here to at least give it a shot. And again, anything that I can do to help out is something that I will do so and continue to do so. I do appreciate your time, Ian.
Thanks,
Um,
Max.
it means a lot to me, and
Yeah,
as I mentioned before, and I'm looking forward to seeing 6x6 live at some point down the road. Okay.
absolutely. It's been a pleasure, Max. Nice meeting you.
Absolutely. Yeah, nice meeting you too. Is there any last words you'd like to share with anybody before we wrap up here today?
Well, I mean, I got the 6x6 band going. It's a three-piece. I want to get it out there, uh, you know, like that. Saga, well, we're still touring. Off we go.
Perfect. Well, thank you again, Ian. Again, check out 6x6 new record out Beyond Shadowland out April 26th. And Ian Crichton, of course, guitarist extraordinaire. If you haven't listened, you're missing out. But of course, I'll continue to promote and share everything that you've worked on in the last 40 plus years. And I wish you nothing but the
Appreciate
most
it.
success with the new record, Ian. Seriously, all the
Thank
best
you
to you.
very much, Max. Yeah,
All
maybe
right.
we'll talk again. See you on Sonic Dorms.
All right. Perfect. Yeah, you're always welcome, Ian. Take care. Okay. Have a great rest of your day.
Okay, see you, Max.